streets of Joburg to the Pretoria Sun. A new chapter starting and it's just begun. It's not Santon, baby, and it's not Margate. We're trading the reef for the Lone Star State. No JRU or the South Fork crew, just a red, white, and blue welcome waiting for you. From Bosnia's hills to the Botswana sand, he's carried the fire all across the land. A life for the flag, for the faith, for the free. Now he's opening the gates for you and for me. Oh, get ready for the colonials, Texas meet and greet, where the Southers and the Patriots all dance in the street. Under the eagle's wings, where the spirit flies high, underneath that big old Dallas sky, it's camaraderie, it's liberty, it's a brand new day. South Africa, welcome to the USA. You've been through the fire, you've stood the test. Now come find your peace in the heart of the West. No more looking back at the shadows and gloom. In the land of the brave, there is plenty of room. Grab a plate, grab a hand, feel the Texas heat. There's a whole lot of love at this meet and greet. The colonel is coming, yeah, he's leading the way to the greatest nation where we're gonna stay. Service and honor, moral and just, promise of freedom. We put our trust from the Southern Cross to the bright Lone Star. We know who we are, we know who we are. Oh, get ready for the colonels, Texas meet and greet, where the Southers and the Patriots all dance in the street. Under the eagle's wings, where the spirit flies high, underneath that big old Dallas sky, it's camaraderie, it's liberty, it's a brand new day. South Africa, welcome to the USA. The colonel's in town, yeah, he's in town, in the Lone Star State. Don't be late. From the bushveld to the bayou, welcome home, welcome home. Welcome home, welcome home.
Marvin Devine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hello, folks. Welcome back to the program. This is Chris live in central Pennsylvania. Hello, folks. Welcome back. Okay, just checking on sound there. Welcome back on a Friday, and a friends and family only Friday in many respects for many people, but a couple of programming announcements at the outset. Number one, I apologize if my program today interferes with other content creators who typically broadcast this time. Obviously not my intent. I had very little choice as I was facilitating two media outlets interviewing South African refugees this morning and had to host both of those meetings. So my apologies for that. If you have a favorite content creator, don't miss their content. Thank you for being here and watching my content. But you can always watch this after the fact if you want to go watch your favorite content creator live. And so I apologize for interfering in other people's time, and that's not my intent. So yeah, thank you for that. Number two, very quickly, for those who follow my Twitter account at WMWChris, my Twitter account at 4 o'clock in the morning last night from Seattle was broken into by a hacker, and they changed my password and set up two-factor authentication. I've contacted Twitter and said, why did you do that? Obviously it wasn't me. And I have not gotten a response back from them. They did give an initial immediate response, and I have believe I've shut that down for now. But if you go to that account at Twitter at XWMWChris and you see anything unusual there, it is not me. I have not posted there in 3 days, and apparently someone has broken into my account and stolen it. I've had that account since 2008 and never had any issues on the account, never been in trouble with the account, never done anything wrong. So just a word of warning out there that that account has... You're going to report my account? What do you mean you report my account? What is that? Don't report my account so it's taken away. I've had that account and I've got 15,000 tweets on there. I want the account back to me. So someone in Seattle using a Chrome browser changed my password last night. How they gained access, I do not know. But my X account has been compromised. And if you see anything on there, that is not me. I will, if I regain access to the account, I will let you know when it's me. All right? So obviously being targeted. I don't know about your membership. Membership's only good for 30 days. You get renewed on your credit card. Was yours one you pay for, or was it gifted membership? It may have been a gifted membership. Yeah, from Seattle. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Leftist hate wanking central. Yep. How is it possible? It's very possible. Lots of things are possible. That's the problem with technology. When these things are linked like this, people can steal things. But the difference is that, yeah, well, bitter ender, I don't know. YouTube, check your card. Maybe there's a problem with your bank. They do that sometimes. Oh, you pay monthly. All right. All right. Yeah, there's an uptick in attacks. I'm not big enough or fancy enough or well known enough that I should even be a target, but obviously. So just a caution out there for folks. The account which I've held since 2008, it's not my first Twitter account. I had one prior to that, but my first account is my current account is WMW Chris at Twitter. It has been compromised, and that is not me. If there's any comments on there, okay? All right. Okay. So there you go, folks. 4 o'clock in the morning, and they just changed it. They sent me a message saying, "Did you change it? If not, if you change it, then you don't need to respond." Well, then they just allow people to change it. How is that crap possible? That's odd. Obviously not where I'm at. So it's not, very strange. If you have a password you can remember, you don't have a password. Auto-generate. Yeah, well, it really doesn't matter. Auto-generator also compromised. All right. Okay, and I don't use passwords I can remember. I note them outside the net. So anyway, all right, so that's just an important consideration right there. So I'm just letting you guys know that is not me. I have not posted there in 3 days. The last thing I did was I posted the image of the one that was declared not hate speech when a South African artist did this thing and said F white South Africans. Or F white people. That's the last thing I posted on there. So I was in Twitter last night, and clearly someone playing games. So anyway, there you have it. So secure, secure your bank accounts, secure your social media accounts, because people do get hacked. I've heard about people being hacked a lot, but yeah. Yes, Mad Max, but I can't access it. I've been locked out of it, which means I can't get into on my PC into look at things on Twitter. It won't let me review things on Twitter because you have to be logged in. I can't log into that account. I have other Twitter accounts, and that's how I can see that nothing strange has happened. Yeah, nothing strange has happened except I'm not in it. Yeah, Bitter Ender, I don't know what's going on with your account. It could be just YouTube being, typical YouTube. It happens. It happens. But if you subscribe within the next period of time, yeah, no, Marissa, I know. I also got a message from somebody that received showed me a screen capture of someone trying to get their banking details. It was a +234 country code. Guys, 234 is Nigeria. That should be a dead giveaway. Yeah. Anyway, snippets. Thank you for the 21 Rand super chat, super sticker. Is the alerts on? The alert box is on, but I don't see anything. Okay. Yeah, I don't use any application to store passwords because they can be broken into too. WhatsApp hacked if you ask you. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I got you, William. The problem is I have hundreds of sites that I have to change. It takes time. I already changed most of them, so. Nigeria needed bad news online. Okay. Well, it's a criminal act. It's a felony. So, they better hope that they've traced their tracks, because it's a felony. It's a felony in America to do that. That's cyber crime is what it is. Yep. And the problem is these companies don't do enough to protect people, which is unfortunate. Very unfortunate. All right, we're going to get to the news here in just a moment. I just need to give these program announcements to let you know what's going on here. So anyway, and also YouTube acting a little bizarre too as I tried to log in this account. There's a reason there was a long pause in the beginning because I couldn't see what was being broadcast. My studio wouldn't start, so I didn't know if the stream was started. I had to go to my mobile phone and open up the app to see that I was broadcasting. So it's, it's one thing after another. The Rand is collapsing today. What are you talking about gaining altitude? No, the Rand went the wrong direction. Yes, it's identity theft. That's correct. It's a felon. It's a cyber crime. It is a criminal act. Lost card I canceled. Aha. Okay, bitter ender. So you canceled that card. See, that people we forget those things. But I know that I didn't set up two-factor authentication for X. I never did that because it's not on my authenticator apps. I have 2 authenticator apps and it's not on there. If it's on there, then I would have set it up. So clearly, some smartass thinks they're having fun. But anyway, so Gabriel Rousseau, thank you for your subscription. Hopefully we've put a stop to it. But I just want you to know, because if you start seeing strange things up there, like neo-Nazi and other BS that they like to put on people, that is not me, obviously. And if I find out who did this, I'll file criminal charges against them. So you've been warned. You've been warned. Sign executive orders. Okay, well, maybe we'll check in on Trump. Let me do that real quick. Trump. Okay. Okay, where is Trump at? White House Live. It is live. Okay.
Casting guy that people wanted. Kevin was great. I tell you what, I met numerous people. Every one of them were fantastic, really fantastic. I wanted to keep Kevin here, and I thought that I called Kevin 1, Kevin 2. And we
so the big news is Israel's ambassador being kicked out, the charge d'affaires, and the same happening in South Africa. So I can't control the Trump volume, so we'll do the best here. But we'll get back to the South African news here shortly.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the confirmation hearings? We've heard Senator Tillis. You think
he's announcing his new pick for the Federal Reserve?
This is in the whole country. I would say that this was the perfect candidate. This was not a surprise or anything. This was the man that's most qualified. Top student, best schools, everything was like perfect. The youngest person ever to serve on the Fed. Got the whole package. Looks don't mean anything, but he's got the look, right? Roger, looks don't mean anything, but if they have the look, it's okay. But he's got the whole package, and I think he's going to do a great job, and he loves the country.
Mr. President, why are you
Will
you speak to
Please, in the back, yes.
Are you giving Iran any kind of deadline to make a deal before potentially taking
Only
military
they
action?
know for sure.
Have you communicated that to them
Yeah,
directly?
I have.
Mr. President, do you have a timeline for when you're going to pull back potentially the federal presence there?
We'll see how it all works out. They have to float someplace. They might as well float near Iran, but it's a rough situation going on. So I stopped 837 people, as you know, last week from being hung. They were going to hang 830. It was all set, and I'm looking at the people behind me. They say, "What kind of racing's a lot nicer than that?" Yeah? They were going to hang 837 people, and I told them, if you do it, you're going to pay a price like nobody's ever paid before. And they pulled back. I appreciated that. But a lot of people are being killed, so we'll see what happens. I can say this: they do want to make a deal.
Mr. President, about Virginia, actually, Virginia flipped the governors, and now they're looking at 50 proposals to increase taxes. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's terrible. I think a lot of people will leave Virginia. I saw that. Look. Glenn was a friend of mine, Glenn Youngkin, and worked so hard on cutting taxes. This woman came in, and in one swoop, she raised everything up higher than it ever was. I don't understand it. I mean, people voted for Democrat, but she came in and she raised, and I'll work with her like I work with everyone else. But she came into Virginia, raised everything to a point like taxes that nobody ever even heard of before. And I don't understand. How do people get elected with this kind of philosophy? This is only in the very modern age. You know, I grew up and I've always heard politicians will cut taxes, will cut. Everybody's screaming we're going to cut taxes. I cut taxes. I gave you the biggest tax cut in the history of our country in the great big beautiful bill. No tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, no tax on overtime. Interest deductions, Roger, when somebody buys a car, they can deduct the interest if they borrow money. That's the biggest thing in terms of the car business, right?
American-made ones.
Correct. So we have, you know, I give tax cuts and they give tax increases. I don't know how they get elected. They get elected because they cheat. You want to know the truth? If they didn't cheat, they'd have no chance. They have horrible policy. Transgender for everyone. They have a little thing about open borders so that the world's prison population and mental hospitals can be emptied into our country. It's just a crazy. Men playing in women's sports. Roger, are you a fan of men playing in women's sports? Only as a bettor. If you'd like to bet. You're not a big fan. I don't think so. I don't want to get him in trouble, but I think he joins in 99% of. They say it's an 80-20 issue. I think it's maybe 99. It's 99-1.
They're all desperate to get their question
Your own
in.
administration and the IRS. Why are you suing?
Who are you with?
I'm with ABC News.
You're a loud person. Very loud. Somebody else have a chance.
Can you answer the
Wait a
question?
minute.
Why are you
ABC
suing
fake,
IRS?
ABC fake news.
You're suing.
Go ahead. I
Can
didn't call
answer?
on you. Go ahead, please. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Right here.
Yeah.
Do you think the upcoming talks,
ABC, by the way, is truly one of the worst.
the upcoming talks between Russia and Ukraine stand a chance without
Yeah.
U.S. envoy Witkoff and Jared Kushner there?
I think they stand a chance. We've been trying. I've ended 8 wars. All of them I thought were going to be maybe tougher than this one. But Zelensky and Putin hate each other, and it makes it very difficult. But I think we're getting very close to getting a settlement. Hundreds of thousands of.
Let's see if they ask about South Africa
soldiers have been killed.
and Israel.
Last week they lost 29,000 people. Last month they lost 29,000 soldiers. Can you believe that, fellas? 29,000. You lose one race driver and it's a big deal. 29,000 soldiers in 1 month. 27,000 the month before. I think that we have a good chance of getting it settled. Yeah, ma'am, please.
Mr. President, on the Warsh nomination, what is your strategy for getting past the hold that Senator Tillis has on this process? He said he won't allow.
Well, that's, that kind of thinking is why he's no longer a senator. He's going to be out of office. It's too bad. I always liked Senator Tillis, actually, but he did some things that were not smart. And whatever, I mean, if he doesn't approve, we'll just have to wait till somebody comes in that will approve it, right? So that's it. But I saw that he wants to be an obstructionist, but we have a lot of obstructionists. I've had a lot, and we've created the best presidency maybe ever. Yeah.
A follow-up. If Iran doesn't make a deal, is your plan to replicate there what you just did in Venezuela?
I don't want to say that. I don't want to talk about anything having to do with what I'm doing militarily. But we have a tremendously powerful fleet there. We have the most powerful ships in the world. We have the most powerful military by far in the world. We showed that on numerous occasions. I mean, I rebuilt the military in my term. If I didn't, I wouldn't, I think, be able to say that. But I rebuilt the military, the entire United States military in my first term. And now we're building it bigger, better, stronger than ever before. I'm adding to it. We're adding something called a battleship. You would find this interesting. The old-fashioned, beautiful battleships. And we're adding up to 25 of them. Each battleship is 100 times more powerful than the battleships of the 1940s, those big, powerful ones with the guns, because of what the ships carry. But we're going to build 10. And then we'll see how we like them, and we're going to go and do another 15 after that. Could be up to 25 battleships, 100 times more powerful. Can you imagine that? And it's peace through strength. We don't want to use them, but if we have to use them, we will.
Mr. President.
On the Fed, should the DOJ continue with its investigation into Jay Powell? That seems to be a sticking point for Senator Tillis.
Well, he's got a building that, I build buildings, and I build them under budget, ahead of schedule. I build them, but they're within reason always. And this is a small little complex that's costing billions of dollars. Most expensive job per square foot ever built. And it's a little complex. It's a little Fed complex. I built the hotel on Pennsylvania Avenue, and I built it for around $200 million, and it's bigger than that. They're spending many times that amount to do a renovation of a building. I've heard numbers as high as $4 billion. $4 billion to build a building. I could have renovated that building and fixed it up, made it beautiful for $25 million. They're going to spend close to $4 billion on it. So it's either gross incompetence or it's theft. Somebody's making money because you can't spend. It's more per square, and you have half a building there. You know, you have the structure, you have the exterior skin that they're not changing much. They're building a building and they're spending almost, I mean, I'm hearing numbers of between $3 and $4 billion. It's the most expensive structure ever built per square foot. So he's either incompetent or he or somebody is a crook. And we'll find out.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Minneapolis,
So,
on Minneapolis, Governor Tim Walz recently likened the conflict on the ground to Fort Sumter, sort of implying that this is the beginning of a civil war. Do you agree with that characterization? Do you feel like there's a civil war?
The governor said that? Well, does he know what Fort Sumter was, or do you think somebody wrote it out for him? This is, I was elected on law and order. I was elected on a strong border. We had a border that allowed 25 million people to come in. Many were murderers. They murdered people. We had 11,888 murders. We had prisons, including Venezuela, but Venezuela opened its prisons. So did the Congo. The Congo in Africa opened its prisons. They dumped people into our country. Many countries did that. I would have done that if I were leading a country. I would have dumped the prisoners into our country. We had open borders. We had all these things. I was elected on law and order. I was elected on the economy. I was elected on a lot of reasons. Because when I took over, we inherited a mess. Prices were too high. Inflation was the highest it was in 48 years. I say ever, but the media always corrects me by saying it's only 48 years. I think 48 years almost sounds worse. But when I was elected to do a job. And one of the big things I was elected to do is law and order. We now have the lowest crime rate in the history of our country. We have the lowest murder rate in the history of our country. We have Washington, D.C., which was a dangerous place to walk, is now a totally safe city. You can walk with your husband or your wife. You can walk with your children right down the middle of the city. Nothing's going to happen. We did a great job. We had the National Guard. We have soldiers. We have people that nobody's going to mess with. And we've taken out. Remember, it's not just that. In Washington, we've removed over 2,000 criminals. And you know, if you look at the numbers, a very small percentage of your population, 2%, 3% of your population causes 90% of the crime. So when you move it's amazing how that works. But the criminals go over and over and over again. So 2 to 3% of your population can cause over 90% of your crime. So it's not that complex. We moved 2,000 people out of Washington. We brought them back to their countries where they came from. They came through open borders by Sleepy Joe Biden. And I will tell you, Washington is safe. If you look at New Orleans, as you know, we went there about 4 weeks ago. I was with the mayor of New Orleans last night. He was at the premiere, and she was at the premiere. She was great. I believe she's a Democrat. She came over. She thanked me so much. She said crime is down more than 50% in just a few weeks.
Melania's debut.
You couldn't even walk down the street in New Orleans. It's so bad. And now they let us in there, and she is thanking me so much, so profusely. She was great last night. I'd do that if I were a Democrat. I'd say call Trump in, let them do what they do. But we remove people, criminals, from the cities, and they become safe cities. If you look at Minnesota, Minneapolis, we have crime down there because we took out thousands of people, despite all the mess and everything else. But do these people really want to have rapists? Do they really want to have drug dealers and people from prisons and murderers? Do they really want to have them in the community? You know, it's really insurrectionists and agitators, and they're paid. And you can tell a lot of reasons. Number one, they're professionals, you know, with their mouth. But they're also, you look at the signs are all professionally made. They have signs that are gorgeous. In fact, I want to get the sign because I need a lot of signs. For
I hope they ask him about South Africa and Israel.
I want to find out whoever does their signs, they do a beautiful job. You know, everybody has this beautiful sign with brand new wood. It's like leather panels, they have a leather handle on the bottom. These are not people these are people that are handed signs, and we know pretty much, we're getting very close to it, but we know pretty much who's funding this stuff. These are paid insurrectionists, paid troublemakers. But I was elected by a landslide. I won every swing state. I won the popular vote by a lot. I won everything. I won everything. And I was elected by a landslide on law and order and on strong borders. We had a border that was so bad, so open, where 25 million people came in over a period of 4 years, and now nobody comes in. Nobody even tries to come in. And I can only say, I think we'll say it very plainly, elections have consequences. The people
Barack
want
Obama.
law and order. And we have a silent majority. You know, we have a silent majority of people. They don't go and riot and everything else, but they like what we're doing. They like having a safe city. I get calls every single day. Every person I see working in the White House, people I don't know, many people work here, and they say, "I'd like to thank you, sir. Why? You've made Washington so great. We walk to work." They walk to work. You people know it very well. You walk to work now. You used to take an Uber or a taxi or something, and you even felt like in danger there. Every person in this building, I mean, virtually every time I see somebody, they thank me. Because a year and a half ago, they lived in hell, and now they can walk to work, and they're totally safe. Nothing's going to happen. And if anything did happen, the person that did it would be living in hell for a long period of time. Thank you very much, everybody.
I think that's it.
Thank you very much.
So we don't get anything on Israel. All right, that's it. Well, all right, we can get to the news now. Now we can get to the news. That's good. All right, well, I don't know how long that went on. It was an hour, so we're not going to go back and rehash an hour. I missed the first half hour. Sorry about that. Normally that comes on, if it comes on once, I'm already broadcasting. But because I'm broadcasting late today, I didn't get to do it. So, all right, so thanks for that, for helping us out. Let's get to the news now. Let's see, before we go any further, do we have an audience here? We have an audience of 518 on a Friends and Family Only Friday. And it is indeed that. Just 235 likes. What's going on there? By best time of the day watching the Curdles is. Thank you for that, Moinoi. Thank you for your membership for 8 months. All right. Okay. Rate it is in tax cut in place. Dem states are looking to capitalize on this by raising their state taxes. Exactly, Alan. They're going to take advantage of it. And then when times are tough, people are going to suffer immensely. They're going to suffer anyway. All right. South Africa has declared the Israeli charge d'affaires in the acting role as ambassador in South Africa to be persona non grata over spurious claims that he's been disparaging the president of South Africa repeatedly. A review of his X account doesn't indicate any such thing whatsoever. It probably has a lot more to do with the fact they're trying to piss Trump off and the fact that Dalinyebo has been engaging with the Israelis. And so that has embarrassed the South African government, and so they're striking back and trying to exact revenge. This is unfortunate. This is a foolish move on the part of the South African government. It's their prerogative to do what they want to do, but it is a foolish move. The Department of International Relations and Cooperation has informed the government of the State of Israel of its decision to declare Mr. Ariel Seidman, the charge d'affaires of the Israeli embassy, persona non grata. This decisive measure follows a series of unacceptable violations of all diplomatic norms and practice which pose a direct challenge to South Africa's sovereignty. These violations include the repeated use of official Israeli social media platforms to launch insulting attacks against His Excellency President Cyril Ramaphosa, and a deliberate failure to inform DERCO of purported visits by senior Israeli officials. Such actions represent a gross abuse of diplomatic privilege and a fundamental breach of the Vienna Convention. They have systemically undermined the trust and protocols essential for bilateral relations. South Africa's sovereignty and the dignity of its officers are inviolable. Mr. Seidman is required to depart the Republic within 72 hours. We urge the Israeli government to ensure its future diplomatic conduct demonstrates respect for the Republic and the established principles of international engagement. Inquiries can be directed to Crispin Piri. The problem, of course, with this is that the officials who came to South Africa, if they were diplomats or government officials, would have had to have declared that and received a visa for that purpose. Having been a diplomat, I can tell you this. I can go to countries all over the world as a tourist, but as a government official, I have to have approval from my government and from the host government to come there and act in official capacity, just like the Woodmead raid. They knew who those people were. They were all known to the South African government. The activities taking place in Woodmead were known to the South African government. It was not a surprise. There was no subterfuge. Any Israeli... Now, I'll allow for the possibility these Israelis went there on tourist visas and executed diplomacy. If they did, then they were wrong. But I find that implausible. The Israelis are rather savvy, and they've never done any such thing to my knowledge in the past. So this is all about Dalin Yebo and the embarrassment of the South African government, and potentially also about embarrassing the United States. A very foolish move on the part of Israel. All they had to do was talk to the Israeli embassy. They claim they did, but the Israelis deny that, and I tend to believe the Israelis when it comes to this. Because remember that we've seen Ronald Lamola go on CNN's Misinformation White Genocide documentary and lie to the world. You can watch the footage. He says that it's a white supremacy program, the refugee program, because you have to be an Afrikaner and you have to be white to come here. Well, that's a lie, and he knows it's a lie. And it's been a lie since the moment that anyone uttered such nonsense. The refugee program to the United States is for Afrikaners and racial minorities. That's a fact. Right, the Office of Lamola talks about respect, yet he calls President Trump a white supremacist. Is this their version of "we will not be bullied"? Yeah. So South Africa declares the Israeli envoy PNG. Ariel Seidman ordered to leave Israel within 72 hours over unacceptable violation of diplomatic norms. Israel's charge d'affaires at the embassy of South Africa is persona non grata. He has been given 72 hours to leave the country. These violations include repeated use of official Israeli social media platforms, but I've looked at his personal account, or his official account, and I don't see any violations. There's nothing there that attacks President Ramaphosa. Nothing that attacks him. The African National Congress is upset. Fikile Mabalula condemns the strongest terms the imposition of a total blockade on fuel supplies to Cuba. This action constitutes a direct assault on the Cuban people. It represents a continuation of decades of deliberate economic sabotage and strangulation imposed through an unjust and unilateral embargo. While there has been no strangulation, there is no decades of an embargo. There hasn't been an embargo of Cuba since the 1960s. This blockade comes a month after the invasion of Venezuela and the kidnapping of its legitimate leader. He's not a legitimate leader. He stole 2 elections, Fikele. President Nicolas Maduro, no, the narco-terrorist Nicolas Maduro and his wife, comrade Celia Flores. These actions follow threats against Mexico and illegal expropriation and greed for sovereign natural resources veiled as human intervention. It is interesting to hear Fikile Mabalulu talk about illegal expropriation after the passage of the Expropriation Without Compensation Bill in direct violation of Section 25 of South Africa's Constitution. He and his party, the ANC, would be experts on illegal expropriation. After all, they've made it a law in violation of the Constitution. Thank you, Lenki Funkaruna, for becoming a member. They would know. They would know. Fikile Mabalula would be an expert witness when it comes to illegal expropriation. Absolutely. Eyewitness News is talking about a call to reject the credentials of Brent Bozell. This would be an unwise move, But we've seen a very unwise move today, so let's not put it past them. News 24 takes a surprisingly objective take on this situation. Gutful, South Africa's Israel's tit-for-tat diplomatic spat. So Mohammed Hussein claims that South Africa usually avoids taking drastic diplomatic action. That's untrue. But publicly kicking out the highest-ranking diplomat sends a message to Israel, we've had enough. Of course, enough of what? He hasn't done anything. And they draw the U.S. into this, of course. For Israel to send ambassador to South Africa, its officials have said South Africa must withdraw the ICJ case. What? They didn't send ambassador. They sent a charge d'affaires. Anyway, but this is a surprisingly balanced report. Israel's envoy has been told to leave 72 hours. South African government has declared Israel's top diplomat, the charge d'affaires, persona non grata, given 72 hours to leave the country. It follows a series of unacceptable violations of diplomatic norms and practice. The charge d'affaires is declared persona non grata and required to depart the public within 72 hours. This is unfortunate, unnecessary, and a needless escalation of tensions with Israel. South Africa can kiss goodbye $500 million of coal exports. They'll get the coal from the United States instead. A dumb move this was. Yes, the desk used by President Trump is a Resolute desk built from the British ship, the Resolute. Yep. Well, the South African chapter of the anti-apartheid movement, hey, newsflash, apartheid ended 32 years ago, urges Ramaphosa to reject Bozell's credentials. South African chapter of the anti-apartheid movement has urged President Cyril Ramaphosa to reserve all his rights regarding the appointment of Brent Bozell, including the right to reject his credentials. Bozell, a conservative media critic and staunch defender of Israel, is expected to arrive in the coming weeks. The organization, founded by Frank Chikane in late 2024, 30 years after the end of apartheid, to oppose apartheid. How comical is that? Saying such pressure, reportedly encouraged by the highest levels of the United States administration, constitutes an unacceptable escalation of coercive diplomacy. It challenges and undermines South Africa's sovereignty and its right to pursue an independent foreign policy grounded in international law. Sending an ambassador doesn't challenge South Africa's sovereignty. It's the normal event between sovereign states. Johan Pratt, thank you for your membership. Israel support ANC post 94. What happened to that relationship? The ANC has become who they really are, West House. This was in the cards all along. And Ramaphosa, he showed his hand in the 1990s, talking about the frog in the pot. And that's what's going on here. That's what's going on here. Well, the rand retreated this morning as the dollar gained ground, trading weaker than 16 for the first time since Monday. South African Reserve Bank may have been partly responsible, holding its repo rate at just 6.75%. They expect inflation to decline. That would be interesting. Well, Financial Mail runs a story about foot and mouth disease. The virus is raging through the meat and milk sectors. It's ravaging them, thanks to state bungling, according to this story. Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen's 10-year plan to tackle the rampant spread of foot and mouth disease has been welcome. However, commercial and communal farmers who are watching cattle succumbing to disease daily say it's too little, too late. The only province not affected is the Northern Cape. The worst affected provinces are KZN and Mpumalanga. According to Stats South Africa, the price of red meat rose 12.6% this year. The annual loss of meat exports estimated at 5.6 billion rand. Prices of beef products and milk could rocket if the foot and mouth disease outbreak is not brought under control quickly. At the farm level, the impact disease is horrendous. Describing experiencing KZN, Red Meat Action Group Director J.J. de Villiers said farmers in the province slaughtered up to 400 pregnant heifers to get rid of foot and mouth, and some then started planting soybeans and maize. They recently took the law into their own hands, erecting roadblocks in Senegal and the Free State and demanding that local authorities stop the transport of infected cattle. Dairy cows are the worst hit. In the first major outbreak on dairy farms in the Eastern Cape last year, more than 70 farms and 120,000 animals were infected. Bertus van Heerden, chief economist for the Milk Producers Organization, says the impact on retail market for milk is not visible yet. This is most likely because it's being absorbed by retailer stock levels. However, dairy farmers in KZN have reported a reduction of up to 45% in milk supply. Tunes and Louis de Bruin run the Honeymoon Valley Cheese Shop. They were buying 2,000 liters of fresh milk, paying $11,500 weekly, but now they can only get a few hundred liters. We've lost a lot of customers. By 10 a.m., we're finished. The teats on this dairy cow are infected. Disgusting. Johan Duprier, who owns 350 Jersey cows and owns M&M shop in Volksrust, has been unable to sell raw milk since all his cows were infected. He says setting himself up to pasteurize milk would be too costly. He's waiting to see what the government will do. It's no longer a question if we get FMD, it is when, says Sylvie Armitage, a small-scale cattle farmer in the Volksrust area. Since February last year, all auctions within 150-kilometer radius of the farm have been closed. It's not just us, it's communal farmers who sell their cattle to weekly markets who are affected. This is gone, folks. This is absolute gone. Gone. Please see my comment. Well, your comments come after the news. It's interfering with the news. That's very attention-seeking. We've covered this before. The rules were posted. Please ask your questions of the presenter after the news is delivered. The 6 murder-accused SANDF soldiers will surrender after their bail revocation court bid was struck off the roll. 6 South African National Defense Force Special Forces soldiers implicated in the murder of Senior Hawks investigator Lieutenant Colonel Franz Mtipa are expected to surrender to the police last night. Well, did they surrender? It's Friday now. No idea if they've surrendered. No update on that story. The U.S. spouse of a South African detained by ICE defends him. The wife of a South African detained by U.S. Immigration Customs Enforcement has sprung to his defense, saying he was guilty only of a youthful mistake. ICE this week named Jacobus Ludwicus Jansa von Rensburg as a criminal illegal alien, wanted on charge of aggravated assault with a weapon, assault, and driving while intoxicated. Another South African man who lives between the two countries shared on X that the charges dated to 2022 and 2023. Youthful indiscretion. 2 or 3 years ago, he doesn't look like an 18-year-old to me. This appeared to be corroborated by Tamra Jansa von Rensburg, who posted that some 22-year-old boys do make a mistake. 22-year-old boy, it's an adult. So the ICE agency had listed the wrong charges but did not provide any details. Commenting on a post from someone who complained that Jansa von Rensburg had ruined the image of Afrikaners, Tamara said, "Shame on you for having an opinion with zero knowledge and even worse, misinformation." He had the paperwork to be in the country. He came to the U.S. to farm for 4 years, 2 of them before we met, on an H-2A visa. We fell in love and wanted to build a life together. We applied for his adjustment of status after we got married before his visa expired and had our in-person interview in October 2025. No red flags. It honestly seemed to go well, and we thought it was going to be a quick response. Yes, he made a mistake at 22. No felonies. No felonies. No felonies. Driving while intoxicated. Aggravated assault with a weapon. Those are not felonies. What kind of country is that? He deserves a second. Anyone who knows him personally would agree with me. The Jansa von Rensburg couple are residents of Minnesota, where ICE is executing an immigration clampdown. He hails from Verkeer de Fly, a small town in the Free State. The HCA visa allows foreigners to fill temporary seasonal work. Yes, but it doesn't allow you to evade leaving the country by marrying a national. If he wanted to marry her, they should have married and gone back to South Africa and then applied for a spousal visa. Youthful mistake at 22. A youthful mistake is at 16, 18, 19. At 22, you're stretching it there. And if he had these, how did he ever get an H-2A visa to begin with? That raises all kinds of questions. So he's been coming here for 4 years. It's 2026, and that happened at the age of 2022. I don't know when 2022 was for the guy. No idea. The charges are from 2022 then in 2023. Well, 2023 is 3 years ago, less than 3 years ago. So he committed these offenses while he was getting H-2A visas. Something's wrong here. Something with this story doesn't make any sense. Right. Illegal immigrant is a criminal offense. It's the end. Exactly. It's the end of discussion. 14 rand. Correct. The question there, though, is did he just simply stay here and overstay his visa, which is what it appears to be. Yep, that's what it appears to be. Mkhwanazi and Masimola got Louis Vuitton bags worth 100,000 rand. Generals Fanny Masimola and Nandla Mkhwanazi allegedly received Louis Vuitton bags containing 100,000 rand each. Well, of course, Nandla Mkhwanazi is the guy who launched this whole investigation into police. So is this real, or are they just trying to tar and feather Masimola and Mkhwanazi? Former IPD head Robert McBride last week told the committees that Masimola and Mkhwanazi received Louis Vuitton bags from a police supplier who was allegedly irregularly awarded a contract for a bulletproof vest. But the bags were stuffed with 100,000 rand, claimed a witness. Bags are a small symptom of a bigger gratification. So there's Robert McBride. McBride said one of the officers handed the bag in, which is now in evidence lockers that they're investigating. Anyone on the trip, about 7 people got a Louis Vuitton bag. He was uncertain of the price. There are aspects of procurement of bulletproof vests that were irregular. So General Mkhwanazi got a Louis Vuitton bag. Yes, McBride said. Wow. So what's going on here? What is going on here? So is this an effort to destroy General Mkhwanazi's credibility? Well, they claim they have the bag in evidence locker, but that doesn't mean anything. Yep. The Zulu king wants to rename the province of KwaZulu-Natal to KwaZulu, the home of the Zulu, although they're not the only inhabitants of the province, and the province exceeds historical boundaries of the Zulu kingdom, as well as the fact that there was no Zulu kingdom when it was first reached by Portuguese explorers, who were the first to officially name the region Natal on Christmas Day 1497, a full 221 years before the Zulu even existed. So, the Zulu king, KwaZulu-Natal, Mzulu KwaZulu-Natal, is wrong and culturally inappropriate. This is an effort to expropriate culture once again, and shows once again the persecution that minorities face, in this case Indians, whites, and coloreds. Once again, an effort to steal their history. That is the one. That is the Robert McBride. That is the same guy. Yep. So his credibility is questionable to begin with. Parks Tell shakes up the BE codes, add transformation fund incentive for the black tax, another racist piece of legislation. Minister of Trade, Industry and Competition on Thursday gazetted changes to the BEE codes of good practice for comment that will offer companies the alternative of contributing 3% of net profit to the proposed transformation fund. The proposed transformation fund is really the impoverishment fund. Yep. The change to the codes will allow multinational companies to contribute to the transformation fund, the racist fund, as part of their broader equity equivalent investment program under the ESD element. Yeah, so more effort to enrich cadres at the expense of all South Africans, particularly black South Africans. Mozambique's president opens a Chinese-owned graphite processing plant. Daniel Chapo says Mozambique is working to make the most of its natural resources. President Chapo opened a 200,000-ton per year graphite processing plant at a Chinese-owned mine on Friday. Wow, the Chinese. I wonder where that graphite's going. Straight to China. No benefication in Mozambique. You can count on that. You can count on that. Madagascar is lifting a 16-year ban on new mining permits, but not gold. Madagascar has lifted a 16-year moratorium on new mining permits for most minerals, but the gold permit suspension will remain in place. It's a cornerstone of Madagascar's economy with key exports including nickel, cobalt, graphite, and ilmenite. Mining permit is an essential working tool that allows operators and investors to operate legally. As of 2023, about 1,650 applications for mining permits were pending because there was a ban on new mining permits. Maybe concerned about deforestation finally? New malaria vaccines help Ghana slash child deaths until the evil Trump cut aid. Why doesn't Ghana fund it itself? They've got lots of oil revenue. New vaccines are helping Ghana approach a long-sought goal of ending child deaths from malaria, demonstrating the potential of the shots to drive back a disease that kills nearly 500,000 young children every year in Africa and 5 million people worldwide, mostly in Africa. However, aid cutbacks by President Trump's administration and other wealthy governments could mean fewer children benefit on the continent where malaria hits hardest. Ghana is among the countries that made significant progress in reducing mortality by scaling up interventions, by distributing bed nets, treated with insecticides, and improving access to preventive drugs and prompt treatment. 2 new vaccines, one developed by British drug maker GlaxoSmithKline and the other by Oxford University and the Serum Institute of India, are helping close the remaining gap. Gavi is the only organization purchasing malaria shots for African countries that anticipate it will spend only about $800 million on the program. Only $800 million over the next 5 years. Yeah. Additional 19,000 lives could be lost due to lower vaccination rates. Well, why doesn't the government of Ghana use its oil revenue to buy the vaccinations? They have tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars coming from oil revenue from the Jubilee field. Why aren't they using that revenue? Why are you blaming Trump? European Union has labeled the Iranian Revolutionary Guard a terrorist group. Finally took place. It's about time. EU will list the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as his terrorist organization. They announced it yesterday afternoon after brutal and bloody crackdown of protesters. The move brings the European Union in line with the United States and Canada, which already labeled the organization a terrorist group. While France, Italy, and Spain had previously worried that backsliding, but blacklisting could cut off diplomatic channels to Tehran, that calculus has shifted since the recent violence. No one knows how many people are actually dead. The European Union will also impose travel sanctions and asset freezes for 21 Iranian officials and entities. Well, it's about time. About time Europe got in the game. Long overdue, letting this horror going on in Iran for decades. A so-called comedian from the Norddeutsche Rundfunk went to Greenland and thought it'd be funny to raise an American flag at a community center. The Greenlanders did not take kindly to that. Bavarian comedian Max Schaffroth attempted to run the Stars and Stripes up a flagpole near a cultural center in Nuuk before he was confronted by angry passersby. When questioned, he claimed to be a U.S. official before leaving to disapproving looks from locals. Yep. Not too cool. Not too cool. Trump threatens Cuba by tightening the screws. He's threatening tariffs on oil suppliers. A new executive order declares that Havana constitutes a national emergency and pressing national security threat, allowing Trump to levy undetermined tariffs on any country that delivers oil to Cuba. So that's not an embargo. So Fikile Mabalula is talking out his backside again. President Trump on Thursday signed an executive order declaring Cuba an unusual and extraordinary threat to U.S. national security and said he would impose tariffs on all U.S. imports from any country that supplies island nation with oil. So that is not an embargo. Once again, Fikile Mabalula doesn't know what he's talking about, talking out his backside. That's Trump using economic pressure. Anyone wants to trade with the U.S., if you trade with Cuba, give them oil, you will suffer tariffs. You can ship your goods here. Yep. A Panama court has struck down a Hong Kong firm's canal contract. Exactly what Trump was hoping to achieve, and success with the tariffs threats on Panama. The ruling delivers a victory for Trump, who has said he wants America to control the canal, and a blow to longtime ports operator C.K. Hutchison. Despite its lovely Anglo name, it's a Chinese-owned firm. A top court in Panama ruled yesterday that a lucrative port contract held by a Hong Kong company is unconstitutional. The decision against C.K. Hutchison, a Hong Kong company, could eventually clear the way for new companies from the U.S. or Europe to operate the strategically important ports. Last year, Trump backed a deal that would have transferred the Panamanian ports and many others to a group led by a large American financial firm. C.K. Hutchison has operated the Balboa and Cristobal ports at either end of the Panama Canal since 1997. The canal handles an estimated 5% of the world's seaborne traffic. But they charged the U.S. military for transiting the canal, a canal we built and territory we owned, which we generously gave back to Panama. President Trump is threatening to decertify Canadian-made planes and a 50% tariff. He accused Canada of blocking the sale of U.S.-made Gulfstream aircraft and said he would raise tariffs in the latest dispute to rock the once chummy relationship. Trump said he's decertifying all aircraft built in Canada and threatened to impose 50% tariffs on Canadian. That could be disastrous. Bombardier aircraft are in operation in the United States. This could be devastating to the civil aviation community, unless he means new aircraft. In a Truth Social postal late last night, Trump accused Canada of wrongfully, illegally, and steadfastly refusing to certify models of Gulfstream jets and effectively prohibiting sale of American-owned business jets in Canada. We are hereby decertifying their Bombardier Global Expresses and all aircraft made in Canada until such time as Gulfstream, the great American company, is fully certified, as it should have been many years ago. If for any reason the situation is not immediately corrected, I'm going to charge Canada a 50% tariff on any and all aircraft sold in the United States. Damn. Of course, Bombardier is a private jet made by Quebec-based manufacturer, but of course it's owned by, well, at least one of their aircraft is owned by Airbus now. They sold their best aircraft to Airbus. Companies including American and Delta use Bombardier for regional flights, and a disruption of ability to fly would upend air travel in the U.S. It would be a transportation disaster, which is what I just said. If it's only the Global Express, that's not a big problem. But if it's all of Canada's made jets, the air system will be seriously impacted. Seriously impacted by that. Unbelievable. Canada signs a deal with South Korea in an effort to get further away from the U.S. The agreement has few details. It's the latest step by Prime Minister Carney to reduce Canada's reliance on trade with the U.S. Get all those South Korean cars in Pyeongtaek. Canada facing U.S. tariffs that threatens its auto industry announced on Thursday an agreement with South Korea to explore bringing Korean automotive manufacturing to the country. So how are they going to pull that off? We'll see what happens there. Republicans and Democrats reportedly reached a deal last night that will allow for all the government to be funded, but Homeland Security only for 2 more weeks, while the Democrats seek to constrain the law-abiding agency that they seek to cripple. Trump's deal to avert that shutdown apparently hit a snag as senators blocked the quick vote. The delay came despite a bipartisan deal that split Homeland Security funding to avert a shutdown. Senate had been hoping to vote Thursday night on a government funding package after leaders struck an agreement earlier in the day, and Trump publicly endorsed it. The effort stalled at least one senator objective, forcing leaders to delay consideration until today. Leaving the Capitol just before midnight, Thursday, after hours of negotiations, Senate Majority Leader John Thune told reporters there were snags on both sides as he and Chuck Schumer worked to clear objections ahead of Friday midnight deadline. The delay came after Senator Lindsey Graham placed a hold on the package, blocking the unanimous consent needed to fast-track the vote. Graham pointed to language in the bill that would repeal the so-called Arctic frost provision that would allow senators to sue if their phone records were collected as part of Jack Council's probe. See how they stick things in legislation? So they want to repeal the ability of senators to sue the government for the criminal actions it committed against sitting senators. Well, in this case, Lindsey Graham is correct. Don Lemon, the journalist, former CNN race merchant, was arrested by federal officials in connection with church protest. Former CNN host was taken into custody in Los Angeles. Federal officials arrested independent journalist Don Lemon in Los Angeles last night, accusing him of breaking federal law during a protest. The magistrate judge had rejected an earlier attempt by Justice Department to bring charge against him. But Justice Department officials have vowed to continue seeking charges against Lemon and they expect to bring a case to a grand jury this week. The federal indictments charged Lemon in public court documents. Lemon, who was in Los Angeles to cover the Grammys at the time of his arrest, has said he was reporting on the protests when he followed demonstrators into the church. He remained in custody Friday morning ahead of initial court appearances. Don has been a journalist for 30 years. That's a bit of a stretch. And his constitutionally protected work in Minneapolis was no different than what he's always done. The First Amendment exists to protect journalists. His role is to shine light on the truth and hold those in power accountable. There is no more important time for people like Don to be doing his work. The problem, of course, with that is Don Lemon trespassed. Being a journalist doesn't give you the right to invade people's property. Private property is sacrosanct, inviolable, and he violated their rights, and he clearly stated his intention of being in the church. He said, we're here to make people uncomfortable, which is intimidation. That's a violation of the FACE Act passed back in the early 1990s. It's a federal felony violation. He clearly is recorded on film telling people that he is intending to make the parishioners uncomfortable. That is intimidation. He will be hoisted by his own petard. He convicted himself with his statements. Also, he harassed a pastor, and then on film, he tried to make it sound as if the pastor was attacking him. He's like, hey, don't touch me. When actually, if you watch the video, Lemon approached, closed in the personal space of the pastor, and then tried this nonsense. Don Lemon is in trouble here, big trouble. Trump is weighing new military options against Iran as an armada amasses outside the shores of Iran. President Trump has been presented in recent days with an expanded list of potential military options against Iran aimed at doing further damage to the country's nuclear and missile facilities. Options go beyond the proposals that were considered 2 weeks ago as a means of following through on his promise to stop the killing of protesters by Iranian government officials. Yeah, Iran is also in trouble. Millions of pages of the Epstein files have been released. Where are the Trump haters now? Where are the people who left my channel when I said, what are you crying about this stuff for? It's being released. And now millions more documents have been released. This is the 6th release of Epstein documents in less than a year. The trove of documents related to the investigation is the largest release to date by the Justice Department, includes thousands of videos and photographs. Justice Department today released 3 million more pages from its Jeffrey Epstein files and thousands of videos and images. Largest trove of Epstein files released to date, and came weeks after a December 19th deadline imposed by Congress. The law that required Justice Department to make virtually all its Epstein investigation files public also required it to explain to Congress why it redacted any information. Todd Blanche, the Justice Department's number 2 official, said Friday that federal officials would submit its report in due course. Times reporters are sifting through the material and providing updates and analysis of the records. Interesting. So they're trying to divine what's going on. They said that Blanche, not the Attorney General, is answering questions about the Epstein files. They claim the White House has long been frustrated by her missteps and has increasingly put Blanche forward as Justice Department's main conduit of public information about the files. The White House had nothing to do with this review. They had no oversight, and they did not tell this department how to do a review and what to look for and what to redact and what not to redact. Blanche is Trump's former criminal defense lawyer. He's in an awkward position. But the New York Times obsessed with the pedo Epstein, as are so many viewers around the world. And of course, right, Ron Ref Rugby. Why did the Democrats not release any documents in the 4 years that Biden was in office? They had 4 years to release documents. Trump has released 6 different tranches of documents, and they're still going after Trump. Utter nonsense. Minnesota Governor Walz and Ellison to testify in front of the House on the fraud. Minnesota's Governor Tim Walz and State Attorney General Keith Ellison are set to testify in front of the House Oversight Committee on March 4th for the investigation into the fraud scandal with Somali immigrants in Minnesota. Americans deserve answers about the rampant misuse of taxpayer dollars in Minnesota's social services program that occurred on Governor Walz and Attorney General Ellison's watch. Oversight Chair James Comer, Republican from Kentucky, stated. Investigation launched last month after it was revealed that hundreds of millions in taxpayer money was used fraudulently from pandemic programs for low-income children. Prosecutors allege that it could be up to $9 billion. We've seen reports of $18 billion. The problem with this, of course, is that this has been known for over a decade, and Minnesota's done virtually nothing about it. This was reported a long time ago, and the independent journalists who reported on this were censored by social media platforms who deplatformed them and took away their content because they reported on this over a decade ago. Yeah. Westall says it looks like Waltz is pinching a fart. Yeah, I agree. President Trump has picked a successor to be the Federal Reserve Chairman, Kevin Walsh, who was one of Trump's top picks for the Fed chair during his first term before he chose Jerome Powell. President Trump said on January 3rd that former Federal Reserve Governor Kevin Walsh will be the next head of the U.S. Central Bank. I'm pleased to announce that I'm nominating Kevin Walsh to be chairman of the Board of Governors for the Federal Reserve. I've known him for a long time. I have no doubt he will go down as one of the great Fed chairmen, maybe the best. On top of everything else, he's central casting. He will never let you down. Congratulations. While the new chair will be just one vote, Trump believes other officials will change their minds to support cutting interest rates. If they respect the Fed chairman, they'll be with us all the way. Yeah, so there's your new Fed chairman, assuming that he's confirmed by the Senate. President Trump is suing the Internal Revenue Service and the Treasury Department over leaking his tax documents, $10 billion lawsuit. Trump suing the U.S. Internal Revenue Service and Treasury Department for at least $10 billion, accusing the agency of an unauthorized leak of his tax returns during his first administration. The suit was filed Thursday in federal court in Florida. Trump, who filed the suit alongside his sons Don Jr. and Eric, is suing the IRS and Treasury personally, not in his official capacity as president. Lawsuit alleged that the government failed to protect Trump and the Trump Organization's confidential tax information, which was leaked to the press by Charles Littlejohn. Littlejohn, who worked as a government contractor at Booz Allen Hamilton, illegally obtained and disclosed Trump's tax returns to publications like the New York Times and ProPublica. Littlejohn was sentenced to 5 years in prison, but the harm he did was far greater than 5 years in prison. He should have got much more than that. One of America's largest unions, the Teamsters, is all in favor of taxing the rich in California and destroying the economy. Teamsters California backs a 5% tax on residents worth more than $1 billion as billionaires flee the state. One of America's largest unions has made a public declaration regarding California's hotly debated billionaire wealth tax. Teamsters California and its 250,000 members have formally backed state legislation proposing a one-time 5% tax on the net worth of California residents worth more than $1 billion. The fight to pass the California billionaire tax is a fight to protect workers' ability to afford living in California. It's a fight Teamsters California will continue to lead. The big tech billionaires shedding crocodile tears over the idea of paying their fair share of taxes while amassing sky-high piles of cash are exploiting a rigged system that makes delivery workers and bus drivers pay higher tax rates than the AI executives in white-collar jobs. Of course, that's utter nonsense. Former California resident who sold $40+ billion of stock a couple years ago paid $13 billion in income tax to the federal government, plus a lot of money to California. That would be Elon Musk. These idiots who know nothing about taxation fraudulently claim that these people aren't paying their fair share of taxes. I submit to you that anybody that pays $100,000 in taxes, regardless of their income, is paying their share of taxes as a citizen. This progressive leftist garbage of some people are better than other people and deserve to get freebies is morally repulsive. Everyone should be the same. We should all pay the same rate of tax. And it should be much lower for everybody. Most people in this country make $50,000 a year and have a family are not paying any federal or state income taxes. Any. The rest of the country is bearing the burden. And the crocodile tears are not crocodile tears. The Teamsters are a vile, repulsive gangster operation, in my view, who oppressed me when I worked for United Parcel Service as a college student in the 1980s, harassing me on work and threatening me and taking 20% of my income every week. 20%. They're scumbags. They're disgusting. They're vile. And I have no interest in telling you anything but the truth about them. Francis, frankly, thank you for the 10 rand. Yes, the Teamsters. Evil, evil, evil. The FBI director says that 50 alleged Latin Kings gang members arrested in a nationwide operation. After 3 months, 200,000 assets were seized and 10 kilos of illegal narcotics were captured. Well, that's a drop in the bucket, Cash. Keep it going. Minnesota, the Justice Department opens a civil rights investigation into the killing of Alex Preddy, the man who brought a gun to a peaceful protest. Trump administration officials had originally said the case was going to be narrow use of force inquiry, but now it's broader. Federal agents arrested the former CNN anchor Don Lemon late Thursday and charged he violated federal law during January 18th protest in St. Paul, Minnesota, against the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Attorney General Pam Bondi said that she had ordered the arrest of Mr. Lemon and 3 others in connection with that. But meantime, the probe is getting larger. An ICU nurse, an American mom, not an American mom, a domestic terrorist, and an idiot. A man impersonating an FBI agent tried to get Luigi Mangione, the murderer, out of jail. What the hell is wrong with these people? A man claiming to be an FBI agent showed up to a federal jail in New York City and told officers he had a court order to release Luigi Mangione. Mark Anderson, a 36-year-old Minnesota. Oh, what is wrong with Minnesota? Goes to New York City. He has a history of drug and other arrests. Disclosed last year in court papers that he suffers from mental illness. Was arrested and charged with impersonating a federal officer in a full bid to free Mangione from the Metropolitan Detention Center. Wow. Unbelievable. Kristi Noem, her actions in suspending protected status or refugee status for some Venezuelans was considered illegal by the Ninth Circuit Court, but that changes nothing as the Supreme Court has to hear this case. So they freely admit that the Homeland Secretary has the authority to declare protected status, temporary protected status. But they reject the notion that the same person who has the authority to allow TPS and grant it has the authority to revoke it. How is that possible? The law allows her to revoke it. This is just, once again, legislating from the bench. Yep, legislating from the bench. So, Tim Berners-Lee, the inventor of HTTP and URLs and hypertext markup language, HTML, at the CERN Center back in 1990 to make a graphical overlay of the internet invented by DARPA, Defense Research Project, the military and universities put that together. They created the internet, not Al Gore, not Tim Berners-Lee, but he's the one that brought the internet to the masses because he turned it from a bunch of characters into readable text and graphics. Tim Berners-Lee says it's not too late to fix the internet. Founder of the World Wide Web says commercialization means the net has been optimized for nastiness. No, that's not why it's nasty. That's not why it's nasty, Tim Berners-Lee. It's nasty because the world is full of nasty people. The world is full of nasty people, buddy. You see that computer there? Look at that PC screen. It's got a barcode on the side of it because it belongs to someone else. It doesn't belong to him. He's working at someone's office there. He's written what he considers the world's first blog. One post published in June 2024 is dominated by a crowded map of everything on the internet. It's a reminder of the web's overall beneficence. From email and Zoom to health, podcasts, collaboration, creativity, digital sovereignty, the diagram shows the web is, for the most part, good. But at the left is a cluster of red, including X, Snapchat, YouTube, feed manipulation for aggregation, addiction, polarization, disinformation, and mental illness. This corner of the web, its creator says, has been optimized for nastiness. Wow. YouTube is optimized for nastiness. It was under its previous CEO, but not any longer. An artificial intelligence altered picture of Alex Preddy is being circulated after his death. They've altered the picture. See, there's the top picture, the actual picture. And they made him look healthier and tanner and fixed his messed up teeth. Yeah, well, that's nonsense. Michael Beck, 65, has died. The first person to ever report the Havana syndrome. As an employee with the National Security Agency, claimed that he was exposed to a direct energy device that led to a diagnosis of Parkinson's disease at the age of 45. Mr. Beck, the first of scores of federal workers, developed neurological symptoms while serving U.S. government facilities overseas, a condition that has come to be known as Havana syndrome, in which Mr. Beck claimed resulted in a diagnosis of a rare form of Parkinson's disease when he was 45, died over the weekend in Columbia, Maryland. He was just 65. His daughter said he died while shopping and that the cause had not been determined. Havana syndrome refers to a collection of neurological ailments, including dizziness, headaches, and insomnia, that more than 200 government employees began reporting in 2016 after being exposed to what they described as a constant buzzing sound, typically in U.S. government buildings overseas, most notably in Havana, Cuba. Yeah. These are attacks by the Cubans on our diplomats. And that's, well, there's one more, sorry. One more. I was almost, there was one more article I want to cover here. Where's it at? Nope, that's it. I got all the stories. Okay, that's the news for today. Anyone had any questions can ask their questions now. Yep. I don't know if Wills is around. I don't know. But that's the news for today. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done already, folks. How we doing? We got a little bit of super chat revenue, not a whole lot. We've got some 400 plus viewers now, almost 470. My mom can't stop saying she got one and not me. Johan, what did you need a salute for? I'll give you one, but what's the salute for? What did I miss? Did you become a member? That's for members. I don't see anything here. No, I see no new members. Oh, there it is. My bad, Johan. Here it is again. You did that while I'm doing the news. It's difficult. Well, there's two Johans here. I did one of them. Sorry for that. Yeah, Rasul was given a week. 72 hours is normal procedure. Yeah, it's rare that the diplomat's kicked out, but you usually get 72 hours to get out of town. Well, that's a difficult question to answer, Broken, because different things are funded by different people. So Different departments fund different parts of what funds the RFD program, including the Social Security Administration. Quite expectedly, the internet's full of idiots. This includes users and those who wish to regulate it. Yep. Do you know about the white South African Air Force sergeant who was killed? No. That's news to me. When did that come out? That wasn't anywhere in the news this morning. The internet's been acting a little funny. Yep. Yep. There's trolls busy on the internet, so. Huh. Anyway, yep. You're welcome for the news update. All right, were there questions? Well, Johan, I could, that you're the second one, so I did the second one. When am I getting a pipe? I don't smoke. Understand the Democrats, they have it for the 4 previous years. They have ample time to listen. Yes, and then what's with these so-called conservatives who are freaking out on Trump, blaming him? He promised to release. Well, he has released. He has released. He encouraged a law to be signed, a law to be passed. He signed it, and they've released 3 million more documents on top of all the other ones. People want the grand jury testimony. That's not allowed. You're not allowed to have grand jury testimony. That's sealed. That's sacrosanct. That is incredibly rare when grand jury testimony will be released, and multiple judges have refused to release it. Epstein fatigue. Yes, man, I had Epstein fatigue a year ago when people started moaning about it. It's totally redacted. I have no idea. I haven't went to look at it. I don't really care. Piers uncensored and cry like a little baby as he always does. Hopefully he invites Dave as well to take him down. Who's Dave? He's a YouTuber just like the people arrested for January 6th. They set the precedent. Now they will bear the fruit. Big deal, arrest John Brennan. Well, I agree. Arrest John Brennan. Yep. I agree. Don't disagree with that at all. Anthony Fauci, Karen Blix, all of them. Arrest all of them. Yep. The New Mahindra is not pretty, but impressive. Okay. Nothing to worry about yet. Just need to get the little one to the doctor. Okay. Quickest way to drive. Oh, that's okay. Yeah, Mad Max is sharing for those who need military records. He's done that before. You need Department of Defense records. Britain lifted the ban on the IRCG. Serious? I didn't see that either. Eric Draven said they want to copy the U.S. government. They stuffed it. I guess you mean by the PNG. Good afternoon, Zay Martinez. What's going on? Another farm attack in Buffelsdrift. Long time our house was empty by the bastards. I didn't hear about that. A friend of mine got married to an American beauty, and it took him almost a year to get a spousal visa. The issue on that is that in our industry, we most get 6 months only. Exactly. That's why you need to go back to South Africa. And then the wife can go with you, and then come back over once the visa is granted. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right, Guy. He must have overstayed his H-2A visa, got married, tried to become legal, but immigration rules became strict. No, they've become stricter. They've always been strict. They just weren't enforced. There's a difference. They weren't enforced in the past. Yep. Yeah. I don't know about 2 DUIs in one day. That's crazy. SPCA should help the farmers take. Steve has the court. Excuse me. Purple people problem. I don't get the other countries destroyed. What's this? We lost the sale farm because the new breakout of foot and mouth disease. The dairy farmer said he cannot take the chance to tie up all his funds if an outbreak should occur. Yep. It's terrible. Norman wants to know if there's a way he can contact me. Yes. Send me an email. Yeah, meat is skyrocketing. My ANC. Let's see what this says. The African National Congress applauds the government of the Republic of South Africa acting through its Department of National Relations cooperation for its firm and principled stance in declaring the Israeli charge d'affaires persona non grata. This action affirms South Africa's sovereign right to manage its international relations in line with its constitution, national dignity, and established diplomatic norms. Yeah, okay, whatever. 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 Not buying that story for a second. Thank you for that, Mad Max. Last time my channel sub was deducted in ZAR. Next one should be in dollars. Oh, your subscription. You mean your membership. Subscription is free. You mean membership. Colonel, the Mkwanazi story was that, Julius? No, that was General Nandla. The claim is that Masamola, Fani Masamola, and General Nandla Mkwanazi received Louis Vuitton bags with $100,000 cash in it. So that's who they're claiming. Denise Skuman, thank you very much. 350 Rand. Elmarie Mayer. Please remember Christopher. Yeah, let's take a look and see. Elmarie, how's it going? Having a hard time getting there. Hang on a second here. Elmarie, okay. And what else just happened there? Something else just came up. Now I've got, hang on a second here. Back a buddy. Is it there yet? Close, getting there. Someone gave another 5,000. Still about 6,000, 5 or 6,000 Rand short. So this is, if anybody can help, here's the link for that. Anyone wants to donate to help him. He's got some serious medical issues and needs care. And obviously no medical cover, no aid cover. So needs help there. But that's Christopher. Let me share that with you very quickly. There you go. 211,480 Rand. They needed 218,000 Rand. So a little over 6,000 Rand left. I heard of Hakeem Jeffries calling for her death. That seems pretty dangerous. Farkas says, do you think Trump will ever say enough is enough? I don't know. Maybe this will do it. Who knows? He didn't comment it. I didn't see any comment. Denise Kuhlman, thank you for 350 Rand. Marie, thank you for 35. Mad Max for 35. Yep. Okay. There you go. What's the Colonel's subscription in dollar? It's $2.99, $4.99, and is it $14.99 or $2.99, $6.99, and $14.99? I think is what I set it as. You can only set it one time. You can't change it, or something like that. So that was a long time ago. Yeah, it's not a subscription. It's membership. Membership Utopia is $2.99, $6.99, and $14.99. I don't know if Don Lemon wants to go to jail. I think he's just another arrogant elitist who thinks that he's untouchable. You're welcome, Utopi. He does what he wants to do. And these people think they can get away with anything. It's insane. So my channel has been getting low views this week, but the behavior today on Friends and Family Only Friday has made a difference. I was getting 1,000 views per hour overnight. It jumped to 5,000 from 9 to 10, 16,000 from 10 to 11, 13,500 from 11 to 12, 12,000 from 12 o'clock, and now we're 20 minutes in this hour and I've got 3,000. What is this? Did you cover? Yes, I covered the Cuban letter, Mad Max. Yes, I did. I covered it. Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're at on that one. Today is the 30th. One more day left in the month, and it was supposed to be the meet and greet tomorrow, but it's not the meet and greet because the weather flight's being canceled. I've moved everything to next week, so it's 1 week later. Yep. Anyway, so yeah. So how we doing? Let me just take a look here very quickly here while you send questions. Still picking approved refugees ready for travel randomly, or they were never picked randomly. Broken arrow. Where do you get that from? You mean oldest? You mean the oldest case? I don't know how they're picking the cases. Honestly, I really don't. I wish I did. It would make a lot more. So Don Lemon video, not getting a lot of views. I did a short on that, 4,000 views. Not great. The videos I did this morning, I wound up doing 3 of them. helping out can make you a target, which is true. And I told 3 stories about South Africans. That one's got 6,000 views, which is lower than the norm. And then the South African or the Israeli charge d'affaires being kicked out of the country, that one is not doing great. It's at 17,000 after almost 4 hours. Could be a lot better. And it's slowing down. Then Israel retaliating, that one is doing better, but it's slowing down as well. It's 16,000 in 3 hours and 19 minutes. So, yep. When I comment on Southern podcasts, then I get timed out. The irony is that this doesn't apply when I comment on American podcasts. I don't even mean you get timed out, Alan. Light Rain, were you here earlier when I talked about my Twitter account? Salute's birthday is tomorrow. Do I know the extension? No, I don't know the extension on his desk, Sally. Oh, yeah. So just for those who've tuned in late, I decided on the first song, Corey. I've already started sharing it. The first song is the one. So last night, about 4 o'clock in the morning, a little bit after 4, X sent me a thing saying, are you trying to sign into your account from Seattle, Washington on a Chrome browser? Well, obviously 4 o'clock in the morning, I'm not going to see that. So when I went to Twitter this morning, I was signed out. That happens occasionally after reboot. And I tried to sign in, and I couldn't. Kept giving me error messages. Went on my phone. I was logged out on my phone as well. Someone hacked into my Twitter account from Seattle, Washington around 4 o'clock this morning, and Twitter allowed them to do it. And then allowed them from a location I've never been to ever in my X account, allowed them to set up 2-factor authentication, which locked me out of it. I reported it. I've been able to change the password, which is kind of frozen the account. But the reason I mentioned is that anyone who goes to my @WMWChris Twitter account, it's not me. It's not me. That's someone has broken into my account, and so far there have been no post to it, but we have to keep an eye on it. So I wrote to Twitter, and I've got no updates. No updates. So, yeah, no, the last thing I posted was 3 days ago. There's nothing from me on there. Nope. Nope, nothing from me. So, there you go. No, Mays got angry and left in a fit. I haven't seen Mays ever since. Your WhatsApp keeps acting up, saying it's an illegal app. That's strange, Corey. People were arrested for January 6th. Where the heck are Minnesotans going to be arrested? Exactly. It's Neff, I'm with you 100%. Of course there'll be refugee flights today. The government isn't shut down. Huh. Well, yeah, hopefully she's okay. I mean, she's just angry. That's fine. That's her prerogative. But hopefully her health isn't gone. So, yeah. People come and go. What can you do? Let's not be accusing Dogzilla of anything. Maybe he had nothing to do with this. So we have no proof of that. But the person that did it committed a felony. And they better hope we don't find out who they are, because they tried to steal identity and they've broken a cyber law. Hey, Golda. Yeah, I know. You tried to help her last year and it went out of your way. It was very disappointing. I got you. A lot of people tried. So. What did Buster say? I don't see any Buster over here. Why have I got top chat again? Okay. I don't see anybody named Buster. Oh, well, yeah. Well, we'll see. Chris Perry's link. Okay, let's see what that is. Who sent me that? Oh, okay. What? Mr. Sean Benefelt is ambassador to the state of Palestine, not Israel. Israel's obstructionism enforces a farcical arrangement where he is accredited through the very state that occupies his host country. This underscores Israel's refusal to honor international consensus on Palestinian statehood. The problem is that he resides in Judea and Samaria, which is not Palestine. It's Israel. So, sorry, Mr. Perry. Sorry. Chugsy says, we were asked if you were trying to sign in from this, then it was blocked. No one got in. That's two-step. Well, yeah, that's probably why there are no comments. But it says it takes a couple of days to get back with me. But, I mean, it's a bit disturbing that they would allow it to be changed from that location. I mean, one thing to change the password. I mean, we're talking about a place on the other side of the continent. I mean, I travel a lot. It makes sense, you know, that if they have a question to make me log in. But to allow the password to be changed and then allow a two-factor authentication to be added to it, I never put the two-factor authentication factor on there. No, I use two-factor authentication on some sites. I have to, and not the least of which is healthcare. But yeah, and I have 2 authenticator apps that I use, and neither one of them has it in there. So, yep. Okay, so yeah, no, it's not there, and it's not in the other. The other one just has 1. So, yeah, time to change my password. I don't want to change my password. Yep, there's my token. Yep. Anyway. Yep. Now the shade is pulled on the window. The shade is pulled on the window. Wilma said, I actually did the same thing. Yeah, but yeah. But you're back in. Well, hopefully it won't. Belofte Land, Charles, I don't know, it's this week or next week. I don't know. I'm behind. Someone was giving me links, which I appreciate, and I was able to download, but I haven't seen the links for the other ones yet. So, yep. You would think work, people, but I use X in different devices, so who knows? MAC addresses are different. Yeah, I'm sure he was lying, Amanda. Yeah, no, I don't doubt it. Goldie, you're a bit late to the show. That was kind of the title of this program. We talked about that a lot for the first, I don't know, quite some while. And again, my apologies for interfering in other people's broadcast times. I had no control over that. I had to help 2 media outlets in South Africa interview South African refugees today. And the refugees asked for me to mediate and be the Zoom, so I did that. Yep, since I have the client license. Catherine O'Hara passed away. Oh, that's a shame. Charles says, you never do, Colonel. I never do what? He excluded his Minister of Police and Deputy Commissioner from being probed. I'm having internet issues. Oh, okay, Gold. Yeah, no, I got it. Well, I keep them stored separately, you know, so I have so many passwords, so many sites. That email does not mean you had the option turned on for X, where they will send you an email first when someone tries to chimp. Well, I can't get in. I was able to change my password. My password didn't work suddenly, and then I was able to click the email when I reported on it. It took me there to change password. I changed password, but then they came up and said, what's your two-factor authentication? Couldn't do anything. Couldn't do anything. Hey, Dylan, what's going on? Interrupt the news late or early, huh? No, the news is over. Well, the dollar surged this morning. I don't know what it's doing now, but it surged this morning. So before the internet, I thought every town only had one village idiot. Turns out liberals are proving me wrong. Yep, you're right about that, Mr. Rock Radio. Yep. You weren't added to what, Light Rain? What are people being added to? Peter Easthouse says I'm on next week. Okay. Yeah, no, before the internet, you didn't know there's many people that stupid. What have I got going on over here? Text messages coming in. Sure. Is this? Sure. Oh, boy. Village is full of idiots, yeah. Hey, Chris, hope you're well. Dropped you an email, thanks. Okay, Charisse. I haven't looked at email today because I'm busy all morning. Let's go to my email. Whoa, yes. Oh, wow. Lots more came in. Okay. Well, that just happened again. Something going on with YouTube. Charisse, I mean, that's your call. It depends on how urgent you think it is, but you've obviously taken the right approach, and at least they're considering you, but I can't promise I'll get in touch with you. Which decision Holden by the United Kingdom? There's lots of decisions. No, I'll change all kinds of things, but I have to do it in a different... RSA, it doesn't work for beans. I had to use RSA for years in the government. They were worthless. No, someone tried to change password. I have the message from Twitter. I can tell you guys. I can tell you exactly what happened. They did it when I was offline. Here we go. This morning at where's it at? 4:42, security alert. New or unusual X login. We noticed an attempt to log into your account. Seems suspicious. Was this you? Seattle, Washington, Chrome desktop on Windows. Just be safe. Log in account. You need to verify this you. Change your password. Yep. No. So that came. And then a few minutes later, we noticed a login to your account from a new device. Wasn't me. And then they gave me the address. Email address in your account has been changed to some bogus email address. Additional change your account may be restricted. Well, they allowed it to be two-factor, or they have two factors just to stop me. Yep. No, this is not me. Not me. So anyway. Yep. A bogus email address. Yep, from Seattle, Washington. The leftists are in full mode. Oh, yeah, I did try to say I never tried to interrupt other people. One person wasn't legal in Seattle, exactly. Well, email address compromised. Email isn't compromised. Email is known as public matter. We need it's a matter of public record. Okay. So United triggers litigation by refusing to disclose legal basis. Ministers dismissed the deadline to respond to our formal letter. Sakalika is not happy, and they say they're going to sue him. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. The actions of Twitter to allow that change. The only thing they should allow change is the password. They shouldn't have allowed. They should have given me 72 hours before two-factor authentication could be added after you change your email address. Anyway, all right, let's go ahead and wrap it up here, guys. Be sure to hit the like button if you don't mind. Friday, and the embassy, the Israeli embassy, is going to lose its charge d'affaires. Yep. All right, be sure to hit the like button. We haven't hit 500. We're at 462. Can the rest of you hit that like button? Thank you, Mad Max, for the super chat. Thank you, everybody. I need to break contact here, get some work done. Thank you all. Just remember that if you go to at WMW Chris on YouTube, anything newer in the last 3 days is not me, okay? Hopefully it's blocked. I think I've blocked it. But I have to wait for X to get back with me, all right? Thanks, guys. Have a good day. Be safe. Anything else breaks, I'll make a video or I'll go live. All right? Cheers. Appreciate you all being here. And, yeah, how we doing? Viewer activity, analytics. There we go. People dropping off already the moment I said I'm leaving. Cheers.
Behind, there's a brand new horizon for us to find. From the streets of Joburg to the Pretorius, a new chapter starting and it's just begun. It's not Santon, baby, and it's not Margate. We're trading the reef for the Lone Star State. No JRU or the South Fork crew, just a red, white, and blue welcome waiting for you. From Bosnia's hills to the Botswana sand, he's carried the fire all across the land. A life for the flag, for the faith, for the free. Now he's opening the gates for you and for me. Oh, get ready for the colonials, Texas meet and greet, where the Southers and the patriots all dance in the street. Under the eagle's wings, where the spirit flies high, underneath that big old Dallas sky, it's camaraderie, it's liberty, it's a brand new day. South Africa, welcome to the USA. You've been through the fire, you've stood the test. Now come find your peace in the heart of the West. No more looking back at the shadows and gloom. In the land of the brave, there is plenty of room. Grab a plate, grab a hand, feel the Texas heat. There's a whole lot of love at this meet and greet. The colonel is coming, yeah, he's leading the way to the greatest nation where